Middlesex kept their chances of qualifying for the semi-finals of this season's Yorkshire Bank 40 alive just as they defeated the Unicorns by just one wicket in a nail-biter at Lord's, where John Simpson kept his cool right to the end. Batting first after losing the toss, the Unicorns lost their first wicket in the fourth over as Matt Lineker was bowled by the returning James Harris, a wicket to delight many a Middlesex supporter. The Panthers had their big guns out, and one of them, Stephen Finn, should have removed Michael O'Shea, whose edge was only parried at slip by Ollie Rayner. Tom Lansfield was the only man to score freely at the top of the order, and indeed the former Surrey player looked to be really enjoying his day out at the home of cricket. Indeed, this must have been a special day for all of the visiting players, who would have had, no doubt, their eye on this match for some while. Lansfield's attacking policy cost him his wicket in the end though, as he sliced a hit off another returnee, Toby Roland-Jones, who picked up this wicket with just his third ball. He then struck again in his third over as a struggling O'Shea drove to Paul Stirling, who held on well at mid-on to reduce the Unicorns to 59 for 3 in the 15th over. With Roland-Jones going for only a little more than 2 runs per over in his first 6-over spell, the Unicorns tried to score off the spinners instead, and Lewis Hill was doing that to good effect with the sweep shot, which helped bring up his side's 100 in the 23rd over. But to the ball after that second 4, the young keeper batsman went for an expansive drive off Stirling and found Gareth Berg in the covers after impressing with his 31. That brought to the crease the 40-year-old Unicorns captain and former Somerset all-rounder Keith Parsons, the daddy of this young team. And he showed the boys what could be achieved with the innings of the day as far as his side were concerned. He played some top shots as he picked up the scoring rate, which was needed if the part-timers were going to set a challenging score for the Panthers to chase later on. Parsons was helped by Gary Park, the ex-Derbyshire player, although this was his only boundary from the 58 balls that he faced in making his 43. He was out at 180 for 5 with 25 balls remaining, holding out off Roland-Jones to end a partnership for the 5th wicket of 77, made in 13 overs. And Urin Norman followed for a duck in the next over, Finn being rewarded at last for his efforts with a catch behind. Parsons did at least have a day to remember. Like Chris Rogers in the Test match, he perhaps thought that his chances of achieving something he would have dreamt of for some time had passed, but this shot took him to his 50 at Lord's of 54 balls. Roland-Jones and Harris kept a lid on the scoring at the end of the innings, with the latter having Luke Beaven held in the deep by Finn, leaving it to Parsons to finish off the innings with his 6th 4 to end unbeaten on 64 out of his side's 208 for 7. Roland-Jones the pick of the bowlers with figures of 3 for 33 from his encouraging 8 overs. 208 didn't seem to be anywhere near enough, even after David Milan nicked off in the 3rd over with 17 runs on the board for his side. Normal service was soon resumed, with Stirling and Joe Denley finding the boundary plenty of times against his inexperienced attack. The Unicorns are also a side which at times has looked out of its depth in this competition. They came into this match, unsurprisingly, bottom of Group C without a single win from their 9 games, although 2 were lost to the weather. There seemed at this stage of proceedings, at any rate, that they were set for another resounding defeat, as Stirling and Denley eased the score along to 82 with a 65-run partnership in 11 overs. Stirling had made 42 when he advanced down the pitch to Hampshire's second 11 leg spinner Josh Poisden and was comfortably stumped. Even better for the 22-year-old was when he then bowled Owen Morgan, who picked the wrong ball to reverse sweep. He was gone for 3 at 90 for 3 in the 17th over. Poisden then trapped Berg in front for 16 as the Panthers started to make hard work of their chase. But at least they still had Denley at the crease, and he moved to his half-century from his 63rd delivery. Suddenly the pressure was on him to stay there, something few would have thought about when he came to the crease. And that pressure grew some more when Neil Dexter drove Beaven to deep cover with 82 still needed from 16 overs. It was the wickets that Middlesex needed to keep in hand, and so the news looked a little grim for them when Denley was bowled by a good ball from Beaven for 57. So now we had a real game on with the Panthers on 140 for 6, but Simpson now picked up where Denley had left off. Only playing because of a hand injury to the usual one-day keeper Adam Rossington, Simpson suddenly had a rather important role to perform. Even more so when both Rayner and Roland-Jones fell in quick succession, the latter for a duck as he gave left-arm spinner Beaven his third wicket with a leg-before decision. Oh dear, now Middlesex were in trouble on 168 for 8, needing another 41 from somewhere with 8 overs left. Simpson tried to ease the difficulty by pulling Beaven for a 6. But the game still looked lost for the hosts when they lost their 9th wicket, Harris being superbly held behind by a diving Hill at 186 for 9. Now the panic set in for Middlesex. Simpson survived a strong appeal for an LBW and was almost run out off the same delivery. He then composed himself to take 2 fours off Norman in the 38th over. In doing so, he nudged his side to their 200, and with 12 balls left in this enthralling contest, Middlesex needed 8 more runs with only Simpson and Finn left at the crease. Finn was desperate to get his partner back on strike and nearly ran himself out with 7 still required. But it wasn't only the number 11 who was feeling the tension. The game now had not only tension but rather a lot of drama. Simpson hit Dominic Reed's last ball towards cow corner and wanted to keep the strike for the last over, came back for a risky third and appeared to be run out. Umpire Martin Saggers thought otherwise, but a closer inspection suggests that Simpson may have been fortunate. He then clipped the first ball of the final over for the run his side needed, taking himself to a match-winning half-century, which had come off 48 balls. It could turn out to be one of his more important ones. What a game it was, with Middlesex getting home by 1 wicket with 5 balls to spare. Finn also surviving 12 deliveries for his 3 runs. The win puts the Panthers into second place in Group C with 3 big games to come, their next being against Glamorgan in Cardiff on Wednesday. They will hope for a less dramatic finale than this one.